Hello, and welcome to the Career Management Partners webinar series. This particular webinar is the first in a series of 3, Your LinkedIn Primer. We'll be covering task 1 today, which is an intro to social media and your LinkedIn profile. We're going to start with an explanation of what is social media, get right into LinkedIn as our main topic of the day. We'll be covering your initial LinkedIn profile, and we'll be closing with a recap of the key points from today's webinar. So what is social media? Wouldn't it be great to be able to broadcast your resume to thousands of people at the same time? Hundreds and thousands, depends upon how large your network is. To find inside referrals at a company, to get those people that are willing and able to endorse you into their company and to the proper people. Draw a path to your dream job. Of course, this is prerequisite to you. Have you discovered what your dream job is? Do you know what that right work opportunity is that you'll be taking with your next steps? I know this one is a common fear of many people in job search mode. Wouldn't it be great if you could take charge of your networking efforts? Have a GPS available to you that you can use so that you know who to network to, where they are, and how to reach them. And as importantly, so that you have something to say when you do reach those appropriate people, you want to be able to learn about the people that you might be working with. So again, let's take another look at this. What is social media? As technology has evolved, so have job search techniques. You know, when I first got into this business, we were printing resumes. We didn't have word processing available to us. We had no online research capability, and we certainly had no digitized social media presence to help us organize and work with our network. The internet not only connects people to information, it also connects people to one another, and this is the important thing to understand about social media. Social media gives you that capability to connect with right people at the right time about the right opportunities for your job search. Social networks can help you visualize those relationships, giving you access to resources you already have and in the past have not been able to reach efficiently. The telephone gets in the way these days with voicemail, with secretarial screens, and email. You know what happens there. Easy delete, and sometimes you actually get caught in spam filters. This is an evolution, not a revolution, that impacts how we search for work, which is why it's absolutely important for us to learn how to embrace and wrap our hands around this very powerful resource. So what is social media? It occurs in 3 levels with LinkedIn. Of course, you're at the start of it all. Your first level connections are people that you're already connected to and probably communicating with on a fairly frequent or regular basis. Their contacts, or the friends of your friends, would be called your third level connections. LinkedIn gives you the capability to reach out and identify people in your first level, second level, And it actually takes you to a third level, but to be quite honest, your third level connections are close to worthless. You'll have plenty of head count going on with first and second level connections once you learn how to extend your network. And again, social networks gives you this capability to actually visualize your relationships. You'll be able to see their pictures in many cases. Your LinkedIn account will give you full access to these resources that you already have and that you'll be expanding upon. Level 1 is your direct contacts. Level 2 are their contacts. Now let me be straight with you. Social media or anything on the internet or using of technology is not a replacement for in-person interaction. What it is a way to tap into those resources that you may not have had an efficient approach to in the past. You're never going to be able to replace toe-to-toe, face-to-face, eyeball-to-eyeball interaction with a real live person. But we can certainly use technology to full advantage to make those interactions happen. It's a tool to make interpersonal interactions more engaging by keeping track of your connections' accomplishments. You always want to have something to say that's of meaning to the person you're engaged with. One of the real problems with cold calling people that you may not know or haven't talked to in a long time is that neither party really has something to begin to engage in conversation with. It also helps you by knowing who your connections are connected to. This gives you a sense of networking your way into organizations and into functional and professional bits of information. This tool is a powerful resource to help you engage the world around you. You can research companies, actually following every company that's of interest to you and attractive to you by following their press releases, by hearing from people inside of that company and identifying them so that you can engage them in networking. Again, this is a powerful tool that works like your GPS to who to network to and where they are. It's an easy way to manage your network, not only during job search, but also while you're employed. Remember, social media is something you'll be using for the rest of your career. It's not going to go away. We know it's a challenge for a beginner to learn, and even for some intermediate users, it's a challenge to understand and fully utilize its many functionalities. You make it easy, but you can only make it easy by practice and time spent with this new tool. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn as our best portal of the social media choices that are available to us. LinkedIn is a tool that provides an easy way to not only manage your professional network, but also to improve the effectiveness of your in-person networking. It will give you access to information about the people that you're engaged interactively with. It will give you information about the companies. The algorithm inside of the computer, inside of LinkedIn's social media network, is going to be doing all this work for you in the background. It'll help you manage your online reputation and actually gain an online reputation, giving you a digital footprint out there in your professional network. It'll allow you to research companies, individuals, opportunities We'll be talking about this as our webinar series goes on these various levels. What you'll engage in first is you're working with individual contacts. Then you'll get into the connecting through companies and being able to research them and network your way into them. And in our third session, we'll be talking about actually networking your way to the many opportunities that you'll find out through the utility of your personal network. One of the real byproducts here is that you're going to be staying up to date with developments in your industry. Instead of nose to the wheel and shoulder to the grindstone and whatever that old cliche is, LinkedIn will provide you with a digital way to keep up with developments in your profession and in your industry. This is mainly through your activity in the group functionality. You can find groups available for almost any area of interest, whether it's former co-workers, current co-workers, workers for companies that you're attracted to, or people that share your professional background. You'll be able to interact and learn from others in your same field in this same manner. The group functionality inside of LinkedIn gives you a powerful way to connect with people one-on-one and maneuver toward that valuable face-to-face, toe-to-toe time. Remember, LinkedIn is not a replacement for that personal networking. It just gives you a very efficient tool to use to get you there. It's your personalized GPS to your networking efficiency. On the LinkedIn job board, you'll have access to newspaper classified ads, Monster, Indeed, and much more. In the LinkedIn Recruiter functionality, you'll have access to company resume databases and third-party recruiter books. This will give you a way to access and approach the third-party support that's available to you in the job market. LinkedIn Networking, of course, provides door-to-door applications and also your way of approaching people for those very valuable face-to-face meetings. You'll come to know LinkedIn as a very user-friendly and professional site. It's not a Facebook. It's not a Twitter. I like to compare these big three social media giants in this way. Facebook is like going to a cocktail party. You'll see your friends, you'll see your neighbors, you'll see your family members. It's just a terrific way to stay in touch. LinkedIn is more like going to a professional meeting. With correct choice of group activities and your participation in those discussion boards, you'll be able to have a direct reflection of personal networking in those professional directories and meetings and other places where people gather. Your privacy settings will become your friend. Not knowing how each of you feel about the privacy and confidentiality issues within LinkedIn, I can tell you that by using your privacy settings, you actually have a table of contents as to how to learn and become very conversant with the LinkedIn functionalities. It allows you to personalize the exposure you have to personal data and of your personal data. Bottom line, it's an efficient way to get yourself out there. You got to be out in the network. You've got to create visibility. You cannot be hired until the company can see you and interact with you. LinkedIn has built in a recruitment solution which allows recruiters from companies and third-party companies to access your personal information. You have the ability through your privacy settings to set the level of engagement that you want with those recruiting bodies. You'll find that LinkedIn is constantly introducing new features to provide more value to its members, but the future of that site is your engagement in that total networking experience. So for you beginners, how do you sign up? Well, you go to your internet browser and go to www.linkedin.com. This is their home site. You'll enter your email address and choose a password to create an account. You are simply registering or following this as a website. The computer on their side, the algorithm of LinkedIn, will begin to ask you questions to complete your basic profile. You need to have this very vital digital footprint so that you can begin reaching out to your friends and contacts and developing your online social media personal network. This is what it looks like. If you've never been there, this website across the top toolbar will take you to all the various functionalities that are important to you. It will offer you free access to the premium services, which, if you're curious, they're a little bit better, few more searches. They allow you to see more people that are accessing your profile, and a terrific source of researchable metrics. If all that's not important to you, I can tell you quite frankly that the free version of LinkedIn is completely adequate for the typical job search. Now, how do you build your digital brand? How do you put that digital footprint out there on the internet? Beginners and even advanced users alike would be well served to combine both the elements of push and pull personal marketing strategies. If you're going to be using your social network to push your network, to push your message outward into your network, it would require a strongly narrative and reader-friendly profile. When you reach out to people with this push methodology and push strategies, they're going to be accessing your profile to see who you are and what you have to offer. Therefore, you want to make it very reader-friendly, very narrative in nature, and you'll want to use the first-person language, so you'll be using the word I a lot. Pull marketing strategy, on the other hand, is if you're interested in pulling people to your profile with well-thought-out keyword usage. You've probably heard the terminology of search engine optimization, SEO, which is basically the duplication of your keywords that people are using in searches to find people like yourself. Your headline is the first place that the algorithm looks at. This headline follows you around everywhere you go in LinkedIn. So to really optimize its utility, you'll want to clearly position your occupation in your headline. You want to be seen as an employed or employable person, not just a member of a fraternity. Here's an example. Use IT manager as opposed to IT management. Just like your resume, it's looking forward, fully utilizing available space. And here's the beauty of LinkedIn profile. While you may start with text and copy directly cut and pasted from your resume, you'll want to add to it to give it that narrative appeal that's much more reader-friendly. You'll want to make it rich in keywords. For example, as an IT manager, what are those keywords that people might want to use to find you? Team leadership, request for proposal management, scheduling, budgeting. What are those keywords that you want people to identify you by? Let's take a look at your actual profile. You have the capability to add a background image, like you're seeing here in this webinar presentation. You can get these pictures from anywhere. I shouldn't say anywhere. There are some places that give you access to free downloadable pictures. Pixabay, Unsplash, Google Free Pictures, and see what's all available to you. You can download pictures from your iPhone. You can upload pictures that you have on your hard drive. You have all kinds of availability of background images. The summary function, which is the second thing in line after your headline, you'll want to consider your audience and write it in the first person so that you can show a little bit of personality. This is where you're picking up the narrative or the reader-friendly nature of a good profile. You can use up to 2,000 characters. You'll want to add to the qualification summary of your resume so that people are seeing more than just support of your positioning statement. The way LinkedIn makes this visible to people is that they let them see the first 2 lines without having to do any additional clicking or linking. And therefore, your first 2 lines of the summary are very valuable to show why they should keep reading about you. You want to tell a story about yourself using full sentences. Why are you uniquely valued? What do you enjoy most about your work? What's the depth of your experience, the breadth of your experience to cover those functional keywords that are so important? Here's an example of a summary. Notice the first 2 lines gives the person your positioning, your digital footprint, your branding. IT project manager is the example here. Gives them a sense of your unique value. In this particular sample, the person's ability to align all key stakeholders and their technical team during times of great change. Now you begin to talk about yourself and let that reader scroll down to get some more information. You see the big picture. You can develop trusted relationships. Read on here, and what you'll see as a difference is that some of those things that you put up in your headline could be used as little subheaders so that you can bring more information from your background right up into your summary area. You'll recall that this IT project manager utilized some of these keywords: team leadership, RFP management, and scheduling. In every section of your profile, you'll be able to actually upload media. What this means is that if there is visual representation of something that you're presenting to your digital public, you can actually upload it. For example, if you use spreadsheets a lot in planning or scheduling or budgeting, you might want to give an example, a non-proprietary example of the work that you're capable of doing. This would be an avenue to present pictures before and after if you're in the construction world. One of the better profiles I've seen is from an architect who started with a video of literally available ground space, and you could watch the building be designed and built in a video and PowerPoint presentation right in his LinkedIn profile. Make sure it's related to your career and the summary information, You always want to be giving people visual evidence of what you're giving them text or content in. Make sure it's related to your specific role and positioning so that you can be displaying experience to them in a very visual way. What type of media is helpful? Certainly anything from your experience that can be visually represented would give the reader much more information using keywords in the titles to those pictures. Again, you're looking for keyword concentration and redundancy. How detailed do you want to get? This is your opportunity to bore down and dig deeper into your background so that a person really gets a much stronger look at you than often a resume can provide. Your education. What degree programs were you into at the college level, both undergraduate and postgraduate? It allows you to put in your skills so that people can endorse you. Your laundry list of keywords should be represented in your selection of skills and endorsable skills and strengths. How do you get endorsed? Well, every time a person accesses your profile, they'll have a little window pop up that asks them if they want to endorse you for some of your skills. Now, originally, this was a good way to get some 360 feedback from your network. Unfortunately, the way it's actually being used is that people, if they like you, will begin to endorse things that they know or they see you doing, not only in the present, but in your next opportunities. So how to get endorsed? As you connect with people and you know they're going to be viewing your profile, ask them if they'd mind endorsing you, particularly in your key areas of strength or things that are attractive to you in your job search. Recommendations are different. Recommendations are like your digitized reference letter. It's a recommendation from a person that you've worked with or around or under, could be a personal friend. And it's an actual recommendation that you can place where it belongs chronologically in your background and experience. You could also tie them to the projects that you've worked on. When you go about the business of asking for recommendations, be sure to review your own employer's social media policy, because some companies are very tight on who can recommend, how they can recommend, and how those recommendations are actually dealt with based on the company policy. When you coach your references, when you're pulling together your references to support your job search, ask them if they'd be willing to be a part of your profile by writing a brief recommendation. You can let them write it themselves. You can write it for them and get their endorsement of that recommendation. Or you can just let them know which keywords that you think are valuable for your searching public to find you with. Search engine optimization, SEO. You're going to hear this over and over and over again as you get active in social media. Search engines find you in two ways: keyword concentration and duplicity, and also your activity in the internet. So how do you identify these very valuable keywords? The first and easiest way is to read job descriptions for the work that you're seeking and the work that you've already had in your career and in your experience. Find those functional descriptors of things that you do and like to do that you're good at. When people are searching for folks like you, they're not going to use personality words. They're not going to use work habits like reliability and dependability. They're going to use functional terms like analytical, operational, software development, functional keywords that describe those key activities that you utilize and are good at and want in your next position. Experiment by searching for yourself. Use somebody else's account, because if you search for yourself in your own account, you'll always pop up number one. But you'll want to experiment using somebody else's account to see if you've got sufficient keyword concentration to pop up relatively high in a search page result. Scan the profiles of other people in your same field, your profession, your industry, the kinds of companies you want to work for. See what keywords they're using and see how they're popping up in searches using those keywords. LinkedIn will kick in and help you out here, because when you're searching for people using keywords, the LinkedIn algorithm will actually highlight those keywords for you in a person's profile. These online recruiting tools are really changing how recruiting is happening out there. If you could see some of the recruiters actually searching for people like yourself, you would be amazed and mystified with how this experienced person can be using the LinkedIn recruiter function to narrow their search results in a hot field. They don't want to be looking at everybody and everybody that has some of the same keywords. They want to look at highly qualified, uniquely qualified people for the open positions. They actually massage their search terms using the various elements of Boolean language. They add in filters for experience level, business schools or engineering programs. There's all sorts of ways that you can also use these search engine features to find what you're looking for. Whether you're using the recruiter function or one of the less expensive options, try different combinations of keywords and filters to see which produce the best results. There's really an art to it, and this is something that you'll come to with more practice and more time with LinkedIn. Search engine optimization allows you to optimize your profile for these users of search engines. You can customize your URL to actually include some keywords. To have a complete profile is one of the things that the LinkedIn algorithm looks for. The LinkedIn algorithm is aimed first at your activity on the internet. It's trying to operate just like a search engine would in finding the sites that are most active. Second thing it'll look for is your headline. What is your digital brand? What is that footprint in the sand, so to speak, that identifies you uniquely? Your picture allows you to complete your profile. You're looking for visual representation of who you are. It'll increase your connections. Once you hit the statistical tipping point, which for most people occurs around 150 connections, once you reach that point, you'll find yourself getting more and more invitations to connect. You'll have your choice of whether to actually engage each of those people that want to connect with you. But the bottom line is that when you're developing your network in the front end, you'll want to be not as selective as you'll come to be, because once you get sufficient people in your network, you can get much more focused and much more drawn to particular activities or industries or professions. Think critically about your use of keywords and use them in many different phraseologies or settings within your profile. Engage the LinkedIn activity that's available to you. Most of your LinkedIn activity can be referenced from your home page, where you can participate in regular updates to your network. You can share articles and share pictures. Each and every one of those things from your home page will count in your activity level. In group activity, the more you participate in groups, the more you actually participate in the discussions, your private messaging around group members, liking things that people are saying or suggesting or sharing, and actually sharing things from your groups all contribute to your activity level that will reach your page rank when it comes to being searched for. Profiles that pop up the highest on a search page rank will be the complete profiles. Interestingly enough, LinkedIn will never show you as 100% complete. It recognizes the fact that your lifetime and your experience level is a dynamic concept. So the most complete profiles will read as 95%. You'll get higher up in the search page rank with more connections, with a customized URL that brings people right to your profile, and again, your online activity. So let's recap our key points that we've learned today. Job search methodologies have naturally evolved as technology has become more sophisticated. Once we had word processing available to us. Now, instead of having a printed resume that went out to everybody with a single positioning, now we have that ability to tweak our resumes, to update them to match position requirements that we're interested in and applying for. Social networks are tools that let us visualize and access resources we already have. In many cases, we don't even know what we don't know. LinkedIn will constantly be calling your attention to these things based on its own keyword search in its algorithm. It'll be presenting job opportunities and people you might want to connect with. LinkedIn is the preferred social network for professional networking. You've got many other choices in social media, but this is the preferred professional network of people that you want to engage during your job search activities. LinkedIn's business model is about offering a valuable service that you'll regularly engage with. They want you to be interactive. They want you to be growing your network. They want you to be sharing and liking and posting things. This is what keeps the network of LinkedIn viable and dynamic. It's what keeps your network viable and active. They make it very easy to sign up for LinkedIn and find people to connect with. Creating your LinkedIn profile is task number 1. In the next 2 webinars in this series, we'll cover task 2, which is developing your network, building that network so that you can discover professional information, industrial information, and reach out and gain important endorsement and recommendations. And also, this allows you to network your way into companies of interest. Next steps. Please take a look at our next webinar in the series, which covers task 2, building of your LinkedIn network. This completes today's session. Be sure to ask any questions you might have to your personal consultant. Read it in a book. Get the information. Get answers to any questions that you may have. Thank you for your kind attention today, and I look forward to working with you again on your LinkedIn Primer, Task 2, Developing Your Network. This is Bob Maher, signing off.